This week we have Mr. Cruz, Javier Cruz, who is not only a 7th grade math teacher at Dunbar Middle School, but he is also a artist and producer. So we are very excited to have him today. And as you all might remember, when me and Mrs. Mason, we were doing our intro to guidance lessons earlier in the school year, and I showed you a video about the Poets Closet. Mr. Cruz was the genius behind the production of that little video. So
genius, I don't know about the word genius.
So as I was saying, Mr. Cruz, he did an awesome job for us, so I really appreciate that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and dive in. Guys, we're going to follow the same format as we did last time. So if you have any questions after we finish with Mr. Cruz, please go ahead and put that within the group chat at the bottom there, and I'll be sure to go through all your questions. And then at the end, Mr. Cruz has a great surprise for you all. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So, Mr. Cruz, I have some questions here to ask you. First question, sir. How did you become a producer? It's actually a two-part question. How did you become a producer, and were there classes that you had to take?
There weren't any classes. I kind of got started because like back when I was like 13 or 14, like my older brother used to rap. And so like I wanted to be like him. So I like rap, and it was trash. It was like worse than Blueface. So eventually a family friend had kind of like heard about me, and then he was like, hey, like, well, I got a computer, come to my house and we can record. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't drive. So my mom or my brother would drop me off. One day I got there early, and he was at the computer and he was with another guy, and he like made some little drum pattern, and then he would hit record, and then he'd tell his friend like, okay, play something. And his friend would play something on the keyboard. Mm. So I was just happened to be there early one day, and I saw them doing that. And I was just like, I could do that. And so I found like some Casio keyboard, and then kind of started learning how to play and make melodies. But then after that, that summer, I worked all summer, mowed a ton of lawns, mm-hmm. saved up my money, and then I bought like an actual keyboard that'll like let me record and make beats on. Wow. That's when I was 16. I was 16 when I got that keyboard.
Okay, that's cool. So guys, as you can see, as a young person, Mr. Cruz was hard at work. You know, as you said, you know, he was with a friend, and he was able to find that passion in music. So that's pretty cool. That's awesome, man. Being that you are a teacher, Mr. Cruz, an artist and producer, can you please explain how you are able to balance both professions without missing a beat?
Bars. Yeah, he said missing a beat, and I make beats.
That's right.
It's definitely tough because I have to prioritize my time, and I like keep a pretty strict schedule of the times that I work on music. Because I mean, when it comes to like family, work, and then music, mm-hmm. like that's my list of priorities. So when it comes to music pretty much gets like the leftover time that I have. I rarely ever like work on music like when my kids are awake. So I usually wait until like they go to sleep to work on stuff. So because like music gets like the spare, I keep a pretty strict schedule. So that way when I'm in the studio, like the one thing, and this is kind of something that I tell a lot of artists that I work with, like the one thing that I don't do when I'm in the studio is waste time. Like I have an agenda. I keep like a list of things like, okay, this is what I'm working on. And there've been some nights when like I've been up to like 2 a.m. because like my goal for that day was like, all right, I'm going to crank a beat out. And I've been in there for several hours. Like, man, I can't come up with nothing, but I kind of commit myself to like, I'm not leaving this room until I come up with something.
Right. And that's pretty cool because, you know, it sounds like you have to be pretty disciplined in order to do that.
Yeah. I mean, so I also keep like on my phone. Mm-hmm. So like, let's say I'm out at like a birthday party, and then like I hear something and that inspires me like, oh man, I could make something. Like I come up with a melody in my head. So I'll record it on my phone. Like I sound like there's a whole bunch of stupid sounds that I've made on my phone recorded. But I'll get in the studio and then like I'll listen back to it. And then it's kind of like, I never lack inspiration when I'm in the studio. it's like I just happen to always be inspired at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
If you read between the lines of what I'm saying. You know.
Yeah. And guys, I just want to let you know, right now, Mr. Cruz, he's being very modest. This is a guy I know that works very hard at his craft. If you follow him on Instagram, he is always working, always. So I really appreciate your drive and determination.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So do you write as well? And could you highlight the importance of literary skills in music and production?
Yeah, I don't write as much. I can, and I do occasionally. So like with me, because like I sell beats, one of the things that's appealing to other people is like, all right, so like let's say I'm an artist and like I rap. So I go online and I'm trying to like find a beat. If I find a beat that already has a chorus or a hook in it, like 70% of my job is already done. You know, like all I have to do is write the lyrics and like I don't have to record the hook. I don't have to come up with something that's catchy. I don't have to make the beat, like it's already there. So one of the things that I sometimes do is like if I make a beat, I'll like record a hook in it. And a lot of that comes with knowing those things like alliteration. Like, you know, alliteration is like Sally sells seashells down by the seashore, like that constant S sound, like that's an alliteration.
Right.
So knowing metaphors, you know, comparing two things, similes, comparing two things using like or as, a lot of those things, it plays a huge role when it comes to writing lyrics, because on top of that, you also have to be clever and witty.
Yeah.
Unless you're Blueface, you just write whatever.
All right. So, Mr. Cruz, you're getting a shout out for a couple of the English teachers. So, they're talking about you. So, keep it up to good work, sir.
So, I mean, in case you didn't know, when I came to Dunbar, I was going to be an English teacher.
Okay.
But yeah. And the principal at the time, Dr. Brown, said like, well, we don't need English teachers. We need math teachers. So I was like, how long do I have to pass that math test? He was like, you got to the end of the month. I was like, all right. And then I eventually became a math teacher, because it was either be a math teacher or don't have a job. So,
hey, I hear you, sir, and must say you do an excellent job. So we're thankful to have you as a math teacher. Awesome. All right, Mr. Cruz, who were some of your some of the influences that made you want to get into producing and become an artist?
Billy Joel, Elton John, just like musicians in general, like they're great, and they've been around for a long time, still kicking. Hip hop producers, like I got a lot of stuff from guys like Just Blaze, Swiss Beats, Scott Storch, Havoc, DJ Premier, Ninth Wonder. But then like there's the current generation of guys, like a lot of guys who make beats for like the guys who make beats for Logic, Six, or Boy Wonder, who does a lot of stuff for Drake, Murder Beats, who's done a lot of stuff for Travis Scott, and Zaytoven, who's done a lot of stuff for like everybody. So, right. And I know those names don't sound familiar to a lot of people, but it's like, you know, they're to me are the GOATs, because like, you know, they literally start with a blank canvas. Like they go into the studio and there's silence. And then like an hour or so later, they've got like something dope. And then, I don't know, Travis Scott walks in the room and he's like inspired by what he hears. And then he cranks out a hit, and then it's like 100 million streams, you know?
Right. Hey, you can never have enough mentors as well as, you know, people you look up to. Not at all. Awesome. So this is a question I think is going to be a common trend for us, because I think that's something that is very important. What does good customer service look to you?
Well, in music, I would say it's a little different, but it's also not different than like anything. Like no matter what career field you decide to take, like you're always going to have to deal with people.
Right.
So the way I do it, or like at least the way we do it in regards to like music industry, it's just, what can I do to add value to like what you're doing? So because I'm a producer, like, I mean, I could put out a beat, but like nobody's really going to vibe with that. Like people want to hear words. People want to be able to like establish some sort of connection with the song. Like I think a lot of you guys out there who like think about like the song that you've heard recently. There's a good chance it's like because like, oh, well, that hook is so dope. Or like,
Right.
that song makes me want to dance, or like I relate to the lyrics, like it's talking about my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just like, what can I do to help the artist? One of the things that I've done in the past is like, I do a lot of research. So like I spend hours on YouTube, like learning a lot of boring stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I see an artist and he does or puts something out, like I'm able to like offer them advice and be like, hey man, like, all right. So one of the things I tell them is about Linktree. Linktree, hey man, like I saw that you posted this thing and like you've got your YouTube link in your bio, right? Because that's what everybody does. Like, hey, link in bio, go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey man, like there's this website that's free that you can use, and you could put a link in that website, like in your bio, and that link will take them to other links. So like you can just say link in bio, and that link could be YouTube, it could be Snapchat, it can be Facebook, it could be Twitter, it could be a whole bunch of things. So like I just do what I can to offer them advice and give them help. And that's kind of like my way of like showing love to them and building and establishing that relationship with people.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that, sir. Being that you are a math teacher, how much does being a producer relate to your career?
So dang much. And like, so like the program that I use, most of the stuff is like based in fractions. So like if I see, it'll say something like 1/4, 1/8, and it's always in fours, or it's like it's either in twos and fours. So say 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, 1/32. I have to be able to see 1/16 and then like understand in my head what type of pattern that is, or like what kind of rhythm is that going to make, or what it's going to sound like literally looking at a number and then saying in my head, like, what does that number sound like?
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff like that. And then because music is, in order to like make stuff a lot very quickly, I kind of work in patterns. So I'll say like, all right, if I have this much of the song and that's, 4 bars, then I have this other part of the song and that's 12 bars. So I've got 16 bars right there. And if I repeat it 2 times, like what's the time signature? How long is that going to be? Because most people don't listen to songs that are like 3 minutes or longer. So it's keeping things short, but then keeping them exciting. So a big part of it is just fractions and whatnot.
Gotcha. Okay. So guys, for those of you
good
out
job,
there,
Ms. Johnson. I see it.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Good job. For those of you that are out there and say, when are we going to ever use this in our lives? Well, there you go. There you go. Okay. All right. Very good. Can you discuss, we kind of talked about this just a little bit, but can you discuss the discipline you must have in order to get your productions exactly the way you want them? And also, what has been the longest it has taken you to complete a production?
So with like the discipline, it's just like, it's, I don't know how to say it, but it's like, you have to want it. All right, I'll say it like this. I had a friend who a couple years ago, like he's the one who kind of said like he kind of inspired me to like, hey man, you should just put your beats online and like sell them. Mm-hmm. He was doing that. So he inspired me to do it. But nowadays, like I haven't seen him post anything, or like, he's like on to doing some other stuff. He's like into like a gaming YouTube channel now and stuff like that. So there's just like, you just have to want it and desire it and kind of eat, sleep, and breathe it. I used to go to sleep listening to like podcasts about, music production and stuff like that. Like it was just, I sometimes in my free time, I'll like read articles about like all the technical stuff about music, or, biographies about people. That's just kind of how it is. Like you just have to really, really want it. And you might think you want it, but like you just want the success. And then like once you kind of hit a road bump, you're like, I'm out. This is too hard. But it's the people who like fall, because you only have to be successful once. Right. But it might take you like try number 2067 in order to be successful. But it's just getting to that 267 that's the tough part.
Right. So, again, guys, that can go with anything. Whatever you do in life, you got to work hard for it. And, the benefits will come. But again, as Mr. Cruz says, you got to stay disciplined and you just got to keep at it. Have to. All right. This is our last question, Mr. Cruz. All right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, guys, if you can, go ahead and put questions within the chat at the bottom there, and I'll go ahead and ask them to Mr. Cruz as soon as we're done here. Okay. So Mr. Cruz, after today's message, what is some advice that you would like to give students just in general about life?
I'd say the two things that have helped me the most is one, don't quit. That's and I know Nipsey Hussle is kind of like famous for saying this and like all those interviews that they show of him, but like this predates him. So even before Nipsey like said this, people have been saying this for a while. It's like, you don't have to outperform people. You have to outlast them. Most like Nipsey Hussle like has an interview where he talks about, he's like, the only difference between me and like a bunch of the people that I came up with is just like, I just didn't quit. They eventually came to a point where they was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And like, they gave up. Like, just don't quit. That's how I got here. I just didn't give up. So definitely like be persistent. So like, don't quit.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like, do something small every single day to like work towards that goal. So if like my long-term goal is like, I want to have 100,000 streams, on Spotify, or like 100,000 views or whatever, I need to start with a small goal. So like, in order to get that, I need to have a song that's really popular. Well, in order to get a song that's popular, I need to have a lot of fans. In order to have a lot of fans, I need to like, be in front of a lot of people. It's kind of like backtracking and finding those little small steps that you can take every single day to build, like, to make yourself successful to achieve that goal. You don't have to wake up tomorrow and be like the best at whatever it is that you want to do. You just have to be better than you were yesterday.
I like that. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, so we got the questions coming in, Mr. Cruz. So I'm gonna start at the top here. What do you want to do with this long term? So that means community, school, worldwide, etc.
Long term, being a teacher at heart, like one of the things that I love doing the most is like making tutorial videos. And that's like on my YouTube channel, like that's the most of like my engagement. Is like most of my subscribers are like other producers who like want to learn how to do stuff. So I think if I could do that, like that would be the long-term goal, is just like putting out videos and putting out content that helps people to be better. Like I kind of see myself as like the behind the scenes guy. Like I don't want to be the next Metro Boomin. I want to be the guy that the next Metro Boomin looks back at and says like, yo, that dude, Mr. Cruz, like he's the one who taught me a whole bunch of stuff. Like he's a big reason why like I was able to make it and why I was able to, be as good as I am.
Okay. Let's see here, sir. Can you speak on how everybody's timeline for success is different? Maybe give us some examples for encouragement.
All right. So like 2 years ago, I was at a concert, and like everybody at the concert was like younger than me. I was like the old guy there. It was embarrassing. But afterwards, I was talking to one of the guys who like, he was also a producer, and he was like, I don't know, 20 or something like that. And like he was in there talking, and I was just kind of opening up to him. I was like, man, I'm kind of discouraged because like, I'm in my 30s and like I'm still trying to do this, and all you guys are so young. And he said something to me. He's like, it doesn't matter. And he specifically mentioned 2 Chainz, which not a great guy, but he's like, 2 Chainz didn't blow up until he was in his 30s. So like nobody, I think in our eyes, we kind of look at some celebrities and some people and like, man, they're so young and they were able to make it. Like somebody like Mason Ramsey's, like he's what, 7 years old? And like, he's this like big, huge country singer. Yeah. But like somebody, I'm trying to think of somebody else who's like a lot older. Y'all don't remember him, but Daniel Powder, I know for like the adults know, he was that guy who sang that song like, you had a bad day.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that dude was pretty old when that song came out and when he blew up.
Right.
So it really doesn't matter. It's like, as long as you're doing those little small steps to like work towards that goal. And plus, like, I'm 34 now. I'm way better now at 34 than I was like at 21 or 22.
Right. And why do you think that is?
Because I made a lot of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I messed a whole lot of stuff up along the way, and like now I know how to get it right.
Yeah. Trial and error, right?
Bro, that's the goal, right? That's it right there, man.
All right.
That's why we had a second kid.
Awesome question. Thank you for that. All right, here's another good one, sir. What if you were going to write lyrics? Could you sell it, or would that be copyright infringement? Very good question.
All right, so in music, there are a whole bunch of people. So like, let's say somebody like Rihanna. So Rihanna, who's like this big mega superstar, there are certain songs that Rihanna has put out that she didn't write. And she's not a producer, so like she'll walk into the studio. I mean, I imagine this is like the case for like a lot of pop singers usually. Is like they'll walk into the studio, there's a song there's like a beat that's already playing, and then somebody says like, hey, here are the lyrics. Like somebody had already written a song or like sung a song to this, and like we just bought that song, and now you get to sing it. Right. And then that song like ends up blowing up. So in certain instances like that, like a whole bunch of people get paid. Like a whole bunch of people get to eat off of that. So there's the guy who made the beat, he gets a cut of that money. The person who sung the song, they get a cut, which would be Rihanna. And then the person who wrote the song, they also get a cut of that money. Usually because it's like a huge, big pop star, like Rihanna's going to get like the big piece of the cake,
right?
But everybody else gets like the clout. They also get like a part of that stuff. So,
right. So therefore other artists probably want to work with that person. If it's
I mean, yeah, I have a friend in Nashville who like, that's all he does. He makes beats and he writes and records songs. And then those people like take those songs and they sell it to other people. So he's pretty dope too. I used to be better than him, but now he's outperformed me. He's outlasted me.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Very good question. When did you decide to do this job? Which is better, your music career or being a math teacher?
So I decided that I wanted to do this probably like 5 years ago or so. It's kind of when I decided like, like I don't want to like rap anymore. Like I would rather just be the person that makes the beats. Because I used to do a lot of things, and then in the end I just decided like, I would rather be really, really good at one thing than to be like okay at a whole bunch of things. So I decided to focus on just music production. As far as which is better, I don't know. Like, I mean, music is cool and all, but it is super discouraging. Like, when you spend a couple hours working on something and then you like put it on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever, and then like nobody really likes it, that's like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing? Math is definitely like not as discouraging because like, you get a whole bunch of people that you get to work with every single day, like not just the students, but like a lot of the staff. What's up, Raj? You're the only face that I see that's a staff right now on my screen. What's up, Belle and Harvey? Like I get to work with a lot of cool people, whereas in the studio, I'm literally by myself. And the only interaction that I get is like, doing this on Instagram with somebody.
Got you. Okay. All right. Who pushed you through the tough times and who inspired you to do what you do?
Man, that's a really tough one. Well, definitely my wife. She like getting to share a couple of like those small victories with her. Like that's always encouraging. But it's also because like, she has her own like side hustle that she does, and like she's killing it with that. So us getting to share our small victories back and forth is cool. I hate to say that outside of her, nobody else really pushed me. It was just like me kind of believing in myself. But then once I had the confidence to like really put the effort in and like really get better, that's when like other people started noticing. Like I'm in like a group chat on Instagram with a bunch of like other artists in Lynchburg. Like, and I rarely ever post anything on there, but I like posted something on there. And then like one of the guys was like, yo, Mr. Cruz, like there's there's very few people I've ever met in my life that work harder than Mr. Cruz. And then another guy came in and he was like, yo, saying that is an understatement, man. Mr. Cruz, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And it's just like, I had no idea they felt that way. But like, as you said, like, you know, hey, man, if you see my Instagram, like posting stuff constantly, share, like, you know, always doing something, like somebody does notice. It's just, you got to believe in yourself. And then eventually you'll start to see that other people will take you seriously. But if you don't take yourself seriously, like nobody else is going to.
Yes, I love that message. I love that message. Guys, as Mrs. Mason and I, your teachers, your administrators always tell you, you can do anything you put your mind to, guys. Anything. All right.
Big
I
facts.
appreciate that.
Big old facts.
Let's see. Will you, if you do not quit, is there a chance that you will be able to achieve your dreams?
I mean, I'm already living my dream. You know, I got awesome family. It's amazing kids, dope job, work with amazing people. Like I'm already living my dream. I definitely never thought like we're literally getting a picket fence installed at my house. Like never thought I would have a house with a picket fence. So I would say I'm already there. But like as far as like achieving the dream of like, you know, hey man, I just get to like teach other people how to do that stuff. Like I don't know, man, maybe, but I just know that it's a long game. Anything with success is always going to be a long game. So like I think a big reason why the friend that kind of inspired me to start selling beats, like why he eventually quit, is because like, oh man, I've been at it for a year and like, you know, I didn't make a lot of money, so I give up. Whereas me, I was like, yo, like I'm okay being patient. I'm okay waiting 5 years. You know, I'm okay, you know, sticking my head down and like just trudging through it and getting through it in order to reach that goal at the very end. So,
right. All right. And then let's see, sir. Lost my tracker here.
Lost your place?
Yes, I did. What as far as your influencers, who is one of them that you would want to work with?
Ooh, man. So like somebody I would love to work with. All right. Dang, I was not prepared for that one. So I mean, all right. So I mean, it's probably no shocker that like I like rap. So as far as like rappers go, probably my all-time favorite is Jay-Z. Like, so if I ever got to be in the studio with Jay, I'd just lose my mind. I'd pass out from excitement. But then people out of the current generation, so probably like J. Cole,
Okay.
A Boogie. A Boogie's really dope. I like his stuff. I mean, Travis Scott is great. Drake, there's freaking farmers out in Montana who know who Drake is. You know, he's everywhere. So yeah, probably like J. Cole or A Boogie would probably be at like the top of my list.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. I believe this is our last question. How do you keep going even when you feel like giving up?
All right, so check this out. That's another good one. So again, Jay-Z, like a big inspiration. When he dropped his first album, after he released his first album, he filed for bankruptcy. Anybody who's watching like that Last Dance documentary, like Michael Jordan, greatest basketball player to ever exist, was like, he didn't make the team. Like in high school, he didn't make the team. He wasn't good enough. Bill Gates, who I know he's got a lot of controversy now, but like outside of that, several times in history, he's been labeled the richest man in the world. His first business like was a failure. So it's just like looking to those people and realizing like, you know what, like you're not gonna knock it out of the park your first time at bat. Like it doesn't happen. Like nobody becomes successful at doing that. It's like you got to go up again, and then you learn something different, and then you recalibrate. So like you fix what you're gonna do next time. Then you go up again, and then you fix what you're gonna do next time. So it's just knowing you have to have the forethought to not look, 5 months into the future and think like, this is where I want to be in 5 months. You got to think like, where do I want to be in 5 years?
Right.
And am I doing something today and tomorrow? And like, do I have a plan in place to help me get there? Because then, like, you're not going to be where you want to be in 5 years, but you'll be a heck of a lot closer than you were like before. There's like a saying that people usually overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5. So like, make a plan. You might not hit the plan. You might not get to your goal, but you'll get really close.
Right. Yeah. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So with that being said, guys, Mr. Cruz, he has a special production for us. Mr. Cruz, just want to let you know, really appreciate you doing this for us. I respect the heck out of you, sir.
Oh, man,
as he said, Mr. Cruz is not only a family man, he's a teacher, but also a producer and artist. Guys, that takes a considerable amount of time, as he has said. And the underlying message, guys, anything you want to do, just continue to try to achieve that goal. Go for it. Stay determined. Do not give up. And sooner or later you will achieve that goal, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Cruz, what you got for us?
All right, so I'm gonna share my screen, and then you guys are gonna see like me literally make a beat right here in real time.
All right.
All right.
We go.
It'll probably here. I'm gonna share my screen here.
All right.
All right, you guys can see that, right?
Everybody can see, correct?
Yep. Okay. And then I'll try to do my best to like talk you through it, but I kind of want to go quick.
Yep. Do what you need to do, sir.
All right, so give me a thumbs up if you can hear what's playing. Okay. So I kind of already started, like I was sitting here. Let me see if I can. No, I can't move it. I was sitting here at my kitchen table because you guys can still see me, right? Like my face.
Yes.
See my face? So I'm sitting here at my kitchen table, and I was like working on something, so I came up with this. All right, so you're gonna watch me make something right here in real time. So I have this loop, this little melody that I started out with. And I usually like to start with my drums. So so far. All right, so I'm gonna move on to the hi-hats. The hi-hats, I like to draw them in, so I don't like to play them. I like to draw it in literally like this. And this is kind of, this right here up here at the top is kind of what I was talking about, like when everything is in fractions. So I'll start out with 1/4. So I have to be able to look at 1/4 and then understand what that pattern looks like. So if I were to copy it, that's a 1/4 pattern. So we're listening to the hi-hat. We're listening to this sound and listening to the pattern that it makes. Right? It's just that. But if I were to change it to 1/8, then looking at 1/8, whoa, chill, sway. And knowing that that pattern is going to sound different. So that's why I say, like, fractions play a huge part in this. All right, so we're gonna do the cool stuff now that you young whippersnappers like to hear. too high. We're gonna bring that down.
Secret sauce. Don't tell nobody you saw me doing this, okay? That's a secret, because then like Metro Boomin and Zaytoven are gonna steal my idea.
Guys, this is pretty cool.
Instrument here.
Mrs. Mason said that only took 7 minutes.
Yo, I'm under time. Yo,
7 minutes, y'all.
Oh, that's wild. That's wild.
That's pretty impressive.
Let me get this 808 in here, and then boom, bass drum. If you got headphones in, then you definitely hear it. All right, y'all can hear that. Those of you guys with the headphones in.
And then here's like, I'm not gonna like, this is literally my cheat because I don't know how to play the piano. I don't know how to play instruments. So I use this thing here, and like I literally just put like a scale for those of you guys who like are in band, and like it'll make sure that the notes that I play are in scale. So like you'll see like a gray area. Let me put it higher. So this is the note that I'm hitting right here.
Okay.
But here it shows that it's registering as on like a note that's in key. So that's like my cheat because I don't know how to play. But that just like kind of levels the playing field and like takes out the excuse of like, oh, well, I don't know how to play an instrument. So like, I can't do that. Like, well, neither do I. So I add this bass in here and then that's it. 7 minutes. Dang, yo, that was crazy. Because I think I did it last time I did it with you, Laz. It was what, 10 minutes?
10 minutes, yes. Mr. Cruz, everyone is asking, what app do you use?
All right, so I use a program called Reason. I only have it because I got it for really cheap back in the day. And it was just a program that I learned on, and then that's kind of what I stuck with. Okay. I did buy a MacBook like not long after I got this program because I heard MacBook came with GarageBand. Mm-hmm. But I didn't like it, so I went back to this. But, all right, let's get this bass in. Turn that bass up. That's it. Somebody call the baby and tell him I got some. Somebody in the chat, throw me the baby's email address so I can send this to him. There you go. But there you go. That's it. Took 7 or 10 minutes, and now I got something that even Blueface could rap on beat to.
Awesome. Mr. Cruz, I sincerely want to thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it. Before we go, so next week, guys, Ms. Mason, can you kind of touch base on who will be joining us?
Yes. Hey everybody, Mr. Cruz, thank you. That was amazing.
You
and under time, like I couldn't help it. I had to. You did it.
Now look, that's the only reason I'm under time is because I spent years, like taking hours or days or weeks in order to finish stuff.
Perfect that craft. Like, hey, time management and self-management. I love it. So we're kind of keeping in line with what Mr. Hamlin has started, where he had the barber last week, and then we have music production this week. So I know a young lady who is a hairstylist, and she also owns her own salon here in our city, and she's another product of Lynchburg City School. So even after hearing today's presentation, it's really helped me to remember, even in terms of self-care and everything that everybody's trying to do, like your image is a huge part of who you are. Like you get to create it. And I love the way, Cruz, you said, when the producer goes in, like the studio is silent. It's a blank canvas.
Yeah.
And so like, if we were able to take that reality and reflect it on, okay, wow, this is where I am now. Where do I want to be in 5 years? And for our Dunbar poets, like real talk, you guys are going to be at school, away, here, in high school, like you, and this is your time for blank canvas, right? Like we are all at home virtually doing the same thing, literally. You know what I'm saying? Learning how to use new apps. And so again, this is the time that you have to really build on who you want to be and how you want to be perceived. So she is a hairstylist, but she's so much more, because even when you talk about customer service, that's something that it's allowed me to establish relationship. And like you said, when you're building a brand, when you're building your production, because in essence, we are all producing ourselves. So I just want to say thank you, Mr. Hamlin and Mr. Cruz, because this has truly been an inspirational piece for me as a whole human being, whether I'm not a middle school student, but you know, like, hey, this is our community. So you guys rock.
But thank you for that, Ms. Mason. So guys, please tune in next week for that. Again, I will be sending out Zoom invites every Tuesday. So next Tuesday, I'll be sending that out. So that will be next Thursday on the 30th, May 7th. Again, we're going to be going all the way until the end of May. May 7th, I have a good friend. He's a bank manager. He's going to be talking about financial literacy with you all on May 7th. So we have a lot lined up for you. Again, Mr. Cruz, thank you so much, sir. Everybody on the count of three, if we give Mr. Cruz a big thank you. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Woo!
All right. Until then, guys, you take care. Be safe. Be blessed. And we'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one.